Hi, everybody. My name is Patrick Noyes. I'm stepping in for Jeff Shumlin today. This is a webinar for Putney Student Travel. Thank you so much for joining us. I want to sort of run through a lot of our programs, tell you a little bit about Putney Student Travel as an organization, show you some of our programs, and also explain a little bit about the commonalities between our programs, and then talk a little bit about the health, the safety, transportation, and then share a little bit of information about our partnerships. A little bit of information about me. I've been with Putney Student Travel for over 20 years now. I graduated from Georgetown and ended up living in Spain for 5 years. The first Putney trip I ever led was a language immersion program in Spain, very similar to the one we still run today. And I've been 17 years in the Putney Student Travel barn. I've hired leaders, created programs. I've led a number of our pre-college trips in China, at Amherst, in Madrid and Barcelona. One of the things that I love so much about these opportunities to travel in the summer is it truly the life-changing possibilities of, at this young age, getting a chance to get outside of your everyday environment and in the company of people who know a lot about the places you're going, in a comfortable environment, and try something new and different. When I was 16, I actually got on a plane for the first time in my life and went to live in Barcelona for a year, and it changed my life. I go back every year to see my host family, and so I know firsthand about those transformational possibilities. I'm excited to share those with you. I want to let you know that if you want to ask questions during this webinar, you can just click the Q&A button on your screen, and it will send in a question. My colleague Bethany, who works in our admissions team, will answer you right away. And then there'll be time at the end when we have a chance for sort of a live Q&A, and I can answer any questions that individuals share that might be good for the group to know. So I'm just going to jump right in and talk a little bit about ourselves as an organization. Putney Student Travel is a family-led organization. We are now in our 69th year, I'm sorry, with the Shumlin family. This is George and Kitty Shumlin. They founded it, and they led, their first trip that they led was a group that went to Europe. We spent 10 weeks in Europe. There were 10 days traveling over on a boat. We visited Switzerland, Italy, France, and Holland, then came back 10 days in a boat. This is a picture of one of those very first trips. As you can see, the styles have changed a little bit, but that original Putney Student Travel program is still alive and well in our Switzerland, Italy, France, and Holland exploration program. One of the things that's really great about a lot of Putney Student Travel trips is the fact that we do have this long history. I think to about Tanzania, this is a place where we've been doing service programs for over 20 years. And we have a group of women called the Mamas who take fantastic care of our groups. They introduce us to Tanzanian food. They really welcome us into the communities. And it's actually the daughters of some of the original Mamas who are now the Mamas for our groups. It's an incredible history. The two brothers, Peter Shumlin and Jeff Shumlin, are now the heads of the organization. You might recognize Peter Shumlin in the center there. He was the governor of Vermont for 6 years. Has recently returned to the Putney Student Travel barn, is very excited to be back and brings a lot of his knowledge and contacts to the barn. And we actually have our third generation in the Shumlin family, Olivia and Becca Shumlin, also work full-time in the barn. So if you give us a call, you might get a chance to talk to one of them. Another great example of Putney Student Travel's long history, this is actually a picture taken by Jeff Shumlin when he was leading a language immersion program in the Alps. And 30 years later, this picture was taken by my wife, who actually also led a language immersion program in France. She didn't know that she was taking virtually the same picture as before. Fortunately, there's a little less snow on the mountains, but it really speaks to the long history of Putney Student Travel programs. I've mentioned the barn a few times. We actually do work out of a remodeled cow barn on a dirt road in southern Vermont. If you're here skiing or up in the summer, please feel free to stop in. It's wonderful, and families get a chance to see us. There's a pond out back. There are cross-country ski trails if you come in the winter. And one of the things that makes it so special is that when you call us, when you want to talk about a program, you're talking directly to the person who organizes, designed that program, created it. There's such a wealth of knowledge under the roof of the barn. I think of my colleague, Mike Oster, who is a former sea captain and who organizes a lot of our marine biology and ocean-based trips. My other colleague, Hannah Gilkinson, who spent 6 years doing primate research in Costa Rica, bringing her knowledge to our Costa Rica programs and our wildlife programs. There really are a wide variety of passions and specialties, but everyone has had that experience of leading a program, knows what it's like to encounter something outside the realm of your comfort zone at such a young age, and how powerful that experience can be. Because many people might not know the wide range of programs that Putney offers, I want to quickly go through the different categories of programs we have, show you a slide from each of those, because there might be a destination that you didn't realize that we go to, or a theme that we didn't realize that we cover, and I'd like to give you a little bit of background on all of those. We have programs for high school students. Most of Putney Student Travel's programs are short group trips, so that would be 16 to 18 students, a male and a female co-leader. And we have community service programs in places like Costa Rica or the Dominican Republic. Our community service programs tend to be based in a village. We have community donated housing that we stay in. And we work side by side with people in those communities on a variety of different service projects that they identify. Things like environmental projects. In India, we actually are working with a school that helps to provide equal educational access to young women as well as young men in the community that we serve. We're invited guests of the Raj. It's a really special program. We also do, as I say, work in schools, environmental projects, and all students on community service programs develop an independent project with the help of their leaders that might not be entirely service-based, but it's meant to be something that you connect with about the culture or the people or the issues that you're seeing, and it's something that you can bring to the group at large and develop yourself with the help of your leaders. It's a special part of those service programs. The service programs, as with all Putney Student Travel programs, I think the main goal of them is to provide a connection that lasts beyond the places that you go in the summer, whether it's with people in the community, whether it's with those issues. The service is real and tangible, but also fostering those connections that are meant to last far beyond that is really the primary goal of our programs. We also have exploration. This allows you to get out into the world and get to know a place. Putney Student Travel programs are probably the furthest thing you can think of from a teen tour. They're really meant to get you immersed in the local culture. In many cases on exploration programs, we have homestays. In the case of Fiji, New Zealand, and Australia, we actually have a homestay in New Zealand where the school shuts down for the day when our group arrives. We're paired with homestay families who are eager to meet us. The local principal actually does the homestay pairings. We get a chance to see how people live. It's a sheep farming community up there. We also have ones that are more adventurous physically in terms of climbing Kilimanjaro, for example, or spending a summer skiing in Patagonia, some of the most southernmost city in the world. And then again, I mentioned our original Switzerland, Italy, France, and Holland program. We also have immersion programs. These are, again, small groups, 16 to 18 students. And the thing that's special about these is that you take a pledge to make your best effort to speak only in the target language. Your leaders are obviously fluent and have lived in country before. We travel, we get to know the countries that we're in. We try and get outside the classroom. You spend 9 months a year in a classroom, and our goal is to really get you connected with the language in real ways that you can then bring back and be excited about. All of a sudden, that list of vocabulary words isn't just something on a whiteboard. They're words that you used when you were having a conversation with a sheep herder in Spain or someone who makes cheese in France. We have our career programs. These are meant to give you an insight into what it might be like to further study something either in college or start a career path. These are programs like our Barcelona Sports Management program, zoology in Belize. And in addition to all the fun things we're doing, we're meeting with professionals in the field who tell us how they got there, who provide our students with opportunities to do practical things that are hands-on, that really might help to shape an interest that you think you have, develop one that you already have, and provide you with contacts and provide you with other students who are passionate about the same issue and leaders who are knowledgeable about it. They're really exciting programs, and I hope you do check them out. We've been talking about our small group trips up until now. We do have programs that are slightly larger. These are our pre-college programs. And again, we know that you're in a classroom all year, and it's not our intention to have you do that during the summer. The pre-college programs are a way to explore an interest you might have that you don't get a chance to do during the year, or try something new without the pressure of tests and grades and quizzes. You choose a major and a minor seminar, and then there's a whole host of activities outside of that to really form a community. And these programs might be 40 to 80 students with a bit larger staff involved. We have them internationally, places like Barcelona and Berlin. And we try and study things that are particular to that area that you could only study there. Our anime program in Tokyo, or the Japanese cuisine seminar that we run there, is really a special thing to be able to do in Japan. For younger students, we have middle school programs. These are age-appropriate versions of some of our high school programs. They also have the categories of service and exploration and some language programs. And again, they're a little bit shorter. They tend to be a little bit shorter than the high school programs. The activities and the structure of them is appropriate to a middle school age. And middle schoolers find that being surrounded by other middle schoolers when they're exploring new places and trying new things like language is really beneficial. And they come away with friends that last a lifetime. We also have programs that are for even younger students. These are elementary school programs in Costa Rica and in New England, and right in our very backyard in Vermont. These are for fourth through sixth graders. With this wide range of programs, I think there are certain commonalities that are really important to point out, that no matter what Putney Student Travel program you choose, these are the backbones of the experience that we try and provide. The first and the most important, I think, is the outstanding quality of our leadership. And I would highly encourage you, if you have time, to go and take a look at the bios of our leaders. We have all the bios of last year's leaders up on our website. We also, the vast majority of our leaders come back from year to year. They are all college graduates. In fact, the average age is around 29 or 30 years old. And they're old enough to have experience in the places that they travel to, and life experience, but they're young enough to really connect with our students. And their mentorship is one of the things that we hear again and again becomes important to students, not only on the program, but afterwards when it comes to choosing a career path or choosing a college. And I look at, for example, this is a picture of one of our leaders, Julia Hubert. She's a St. Lawrence grad. She's led our Tanzania program for several years. She's on the second year of a Peace Corps journey in Rwanda. She speaks fluent Kiswahili. She's an amazing yoga instructor. Really somebody who loves opening up students' eyes to the world outside of what they came from, introducing them to Tanzania. She's an amazing example of the quality of leadership that we get year in and year out. As you probably noticed, a lot of the places that we go to are pretty far off the beaten path, and even those that are closer to home, we really strive to do things that you wouldn't get a chance to do if you were on a team tour, if you were traveling by yourself. Again, this means helping you to push your boundaries, always in a safe way, but you'll come back from this summer having done something that you've never tried before and being happy that you did. As you've noticed, and perhaps most apparently in the service programs, we really do strive for genuine cultural interaction. This is where long-standing sustainable partnerships with the communities that we go to, who have invited us in and who actively participate with our group, becomes so important. That's on any Putney program. And we do, want to get you out and doing things. It's one thing to read about a place in a book. It's another thing to take a cooking lesson on our career farm to table program from a woman who is giving you her family recipe that you then later turn around and cook for a small Italian village. It's really a unique and amazing experience. Along with small groups comes a real attention to the dynamics of a small group. One thing which we're really proud of is that over 85% of our students come not knowing a single other student on the program. We love it that way. It's okay to come with a friend, but we find that you're able to get outside your comfort zone to try new things best when you're in a group of students who it's all new to them and it's all new to you. And you share this common interest in the place you're going to or the things you're doing there. And so we get students from all 50 states. We oftentimes have international students as well. And when you apply, and I'll talk a little bit more about the application process later, you'll tell us a little bit of information about yourself and know that our admissions team and our registration team really do work to make sure that our groups are diverse and they're all there for the right reasons and that you can hit the ground running knowing that you're going to be with a group of like-minded students doing something really fun. Now, it is important to point out that these are very structured programs. That's not to say there isn't free time during the day. Certainly there's some structured free time, But we find that especially in the company of such qualified and passionate leaders and with all the things that are available to do, that having a structure and having a structure where we're around each other, we're engaging with each other as a group, and we're using that good energy to engage with the communities that host us is the best way to get the most out of your summer. And again, this is your summer. It should be fun, and connecting with the places that we're going to and the people in your group, it happens through the lens of having fun with them. So all of our programs are really designed with that in mind. Now, having said that, there are some logistical things that I think are also important to talk about. First in mind comes the safety and security of going abroad or even traveling in the U.S. An important thing to know is that in 69 years, every single student who's ever gone on a Putney Student Travel program has always come home safe, sound, and in one piece. And we're very proud of that. We have layers of preparation that happen during the year, starting at the leaders, who are all CPR and first aid certified. And as I mentioned, college graduates with life experience, who know the places that they're going to. We've been going to communities for many years, so we have trusted local clinics that we work with. In many cases, we have local doctors who speak English. We do enroll all students who are traveling outside the US in international SOS. This provides for emergency medical evacuation in the incredibly rare case that it's needed. But we have good communication as well with parents and with healthcare providers. We do have a 24-hour emergency line that you as a parent can call in case you need to, or that leaders can call us, a team including myself, Jeff Shumlin, and a number of other senior people at Putney Student Travel are there 24 hours a day to answer your questions and connect you with your student if need be, to connect you with the leaders, to connect you with healthcare providers. We also, in order to maintain communication, all programs maintain a program blog. This means that every 2 or 3 days, we try and let you know sort of what's going on, put pictures up, give you some advance notice if we're heading off on a trek and might be off the grid for a little while. And you are, as a Putney Student Travel participant, allowed to bring a phone on the programs. In the case of our high school programs, the first 5 days of the program, we actually have a freedom from technology sort of 5 days in order to allow that group dynamic to grow and to exist. And after that, we make rules as a group as to the appropriate times and inappropriate times to use our technology. But we really want to make sure that we are present. We also acknowledge that an important part of health and safety is to sometimes be able to bring a phone to places that you're going to. So that is allowed on our programs. Traveling to and from the program, we arrange group flights that depart from New York or from LA or Miami, depending on your destination. When you're accepted onto the program, we have very detailed instructions on how to meet us there if you're flying in on a connecting flight or driving in. We also are very flexible with those travel options. So, for example, if you wanted to meet your particular student in country at the end of their program and travel around, they will probably be an incredible guide to you and know things that you wouldn't know otherwise. It's a great thing to do. We can help make that happen. If you want to use frequent flyer miles to get a seat on our group flight, we can make that happen as well. So we're very flexible with travel arrangements, and again, give you very detailed parameters once you're accepted onto the program. Speaking of acceptance, I should talk a little bit about our application process. We are right now at about the midpoint of our application season, so there are a few programs that are about to fill. There are a number of programs that still do have a few spots left, but this is the time, if you're thinking of applying, to please get in touch and start that application process. What you would do is you'd go online, create an account, and then there's a $700 deposit. $200 of that is an application fee, $500 a deposit. All but that application fee is totally refundable up until March 15th. So if you want to go ahead and save your space and then you make your summer travel plans, that's just fine. Once we've saved space for you and confirmed that there's room in your first choice program, we'll then let you know that we were going to ask you to log back in to your digital locker. And there's a short personal statement that you fill out. It's not meant to be a college essay. It's really meant to tell us and tell your leaders a little bit more about of all the things you could do this summer. Why this? Why are you interested and passionate about going to India to do service work or learning language in France? And that allows our leaders to really design some of the experiences that you're going to have beforehand when they're at our leader orientation. And so if you have a particular passion, they can help you explore that. We also do ask for 2 teacher references. So these are just the names and email addresses of 2 teachers that we contact. We'll send them an email. They fill out a short reference form online. We know they're busy, but that gives us a feeling for who you are and how you would fit into this group. And then once we hear back from them, we usually make our admissions decision within about 24 hours. And then once you hear back from us, you're accepted. You log back into your digital locker, and that's where you'll find your packing list and the travel form I talked about. There are certain things you'll send back to us, medical forms, and other permissions for emergency treatment and things like that, but it's your one stop for information about the program leading up to the program departure. It is also my pleasure to be able to tell you about our partnerships. These are programs where, in the case of National Geographic, it's been going on its 13th year. We help to organize and run all of National Geographic's traveling programs for high school students. And the thing that's really unique about these is they focus on a particular area of knowledge or interest within National Geographic, meaning wildlife conservation or photography. And you get a chance to travel to places like Namibia and do rhinoceros rehabilitation, cheetah conservation group, work with amazing people, leaders who are professionals in their field. And also, you count on the participation of a National Geographic expert. So you might be in Lisbon doing a photo workshop and be able to work for 10 days with a National Geographic photojournalist who's been published in the magazine, who will help review your work and present a gallery opening to the public at the end of your experience. They're really special trips. The website for that is nationalgeographicstudentexpeditions.com. And you can always contact us, and we're happy to tell you more details about those programs. We also have an incredible partnership with the New York Times. And this similarly explores issues of current interest. For example, going to Germany and Sweden to talk about the future of cars and the car industry, meeting with executives at Volvo and BMW, engineers, people in environmental wings of those organizations. And you do this, again, with leaders who are knowledgeable in your area, and also with a participation of experts, people who've been published in the New York Times, who come and during a portion of the program lend their expertise to the trip. Both the New York Times and National Geographic programs also have programs for middle school students as well as high school students. Again, if you're interested in these programs, please do call us. As I mentioned before, when you talk to someone, you're going to be talking to the person who created that trip, who organizes it. You can call us anytime at 802-387-5000. You can also email us, info@goputney.com. And that brings me to the end of our overview of the programs. I want to thank you so much for joining me again, and I hope to see you on a Putney Student Travel program this summer. Take care.